huge block for a lot of agency owners, a lot of people that are wanting to grow their business?
I think probably the biggest one is this inability to accept that you must separate yourself from the delivery of the service. You must be able to delegate. Maybe they have trust issues with their team. Maybe they believe that they're the face of the business and therefore they must be involved in everything. So it starts by challenging those beliefs and getting them to understand that maybe there's a different pathway, a different perspective to what they have today. If you can't delegate, you don't have a business.
Everyone, welcome back to Agency Insider. My name is Ryan Adams. I'm your host. So happy that you could join one more episode here. And I'm so excited to be talking with Daniel. This guy is incredible. I was actually just looking at his website. I always do this as, doing my homework, researching how things, how they do things, what their offer is, how they provide the service to their different customers. And I was just really impressed to see the experience and to see exactly what Daniel does. And so today we're going to be actually talking about that. And before we were actually on the call, we were really just talking about his expertise in consulting and helping other agencies grow and scale. And this is exactly what this show is all about. It's really to help you grow in your area and not give up. Because we all know, come on, we all know that there are rough times that sometimes come. He's laughing because we all know
It's
that
inevitable.
where you almost got that trigger button. You're like, I'm about to push this thing, about to eject. I'm done. But hey, this show is to help you not jump off that cliff and not give up, because there's enough leads out there in the world and we want to help you get there. So further ado, I want to introduce Daniel. He is the CEO of Pager Digital. Daniel, thank you so much, man, for joining us on the call today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, Daniel, you are from Australia. Kind of give us a little bit about who you are, a little background of who you are, your experiences, and what got you into this agency lifestyle.
So I didn't actually come from agency land. I came from the sort of retailer buying product management. I was a
Mhm.
national category manager for a while. So Excel, number crunching, that sort of thing, negotiating deals with suppliers for big retailers and stuff. I didn't grow up wanting to get into the digital marketing world, but
Mhm.
my brother-in-law owns a successful agency in Australia, and he gave me the offer essentially to come work with him uh, about 6 years ago now, 5 or 6 years ago now, and I thought I'd take the leap. And at the time, I literally knew nothing about digital marketing. Like I'd literally done nothing at all. And he hired me as general manager. So I walked in and sort of overseeing things and services that I didn't know how to deliver, but I had a lot of sort of operational experience in bigger sort of companies. So I had that foundation there, and then I had to learn everything from scratch and through delivering the services and then working with the team members in design development, Google ads, Facebook ads, SEO, uh, pretty much most services, I suppose, that would you would cover in a traditional digital marketing agency. And
That's awesome.
yeah, just was part of that team. I had to learn how to deliver some of those things and then also help the team scale. And then I sort of found my spot in the operational side of agencies, or helping them alleviate constraints or bottlenecks that exist, and
Mhm.
uh, helping them scale, essentially get to that next level beyond the traditional, like, we'll get you 20 leads a month. I feel like there's a million of those people out there that are really good at the
I've
sales
fallen
side.
through this trap. Yeah.
But there's the operational side is probably not as many that are good at that. And that's very much my place. I don't claim to be the best salesman in the world, but I am very, very good at the other side of things.
That's awesome. You were talking about your specialty. We'll talk. Actually, really excited to talk about this with you. And if you're a specialist, I'm assuming you like talking about lead generation. But you're a specialist in lead generation, but you also were talking about you know how to build systems. You know how to
Mhm.
build things that are scalable. They're just sustainable. Sometimes we overuse that word scalable, right? But they're sustainable. They're able to weather the storms. They're able to look into the future or the near future. And so I'm excited to talk about this, about your experience in building this, because we know there's a lot of agency owners out there that are watching this right now. Maybe they don't have that person right now. They don't have that integrator, right? They don't have that operations person. So I'm really excited to come into this type of, this type of conversation with you today about kind of the nuances of specifically that area of, managing in these processes and systems, and building things that work. How do you feel like, how do you, as an agency owner, and as you're a specialist and you help people, for you, how important is this subject about systems and process? I kind of want to go into that area, because I know sometimes we're building as companies, we're all about the customer, but we don't see the back end. How important is the back end for any company or any new company that's getting started?
Mhm. I think it's fundamental, especially everyone sort of hits the plateaus where they get to 10K a month or 20K, 50K. Every plateau comes with a host of problems, and if you
Mm,
don't have people that are operationally minded to be able to solve those problems, it can become very difficult to overcome them. So, systems and processes, I think, are certainly important in terms of deliverability standpoint, but it's the
mhm,
creation of them in the first place. You need to have people with specific minds that have the ability to create them in the first place and implement them, and then it becomes easier for everyone else
yeah,
to move along. That's something I've always found in agencies, or at least with my skill set. I've always felt like it's difficult to teach people how to identify the constraints and bottlenecks and create those systems themselves. It's
mm,
it's a I I could be mistaken. I feel like that's a more of an uncommon sort of skill set.
mm,
Anyone can run a system, but understanding how to create it in such a way that doesn't bog down the team. You don't want to sort of try and solve constraints and inadvertently create more by putting a lot of check boxes in place, and we don't tick this, we've got to tick that. But all those things are sort of
right.
anti-scale, in my opinion. You have to be able to create processes that allow the team to understand the guidelines and where they can move between, and
Mhm,
still give them the freedom to grow within that without
mhm,
slowing them down. And then I've found that, and every agency owner is different. Some are very good at that sort of thing, but I found that a lot of them don't necessarily get into that life to create
yeah,
systems and processes. They get
it's
into it because they're creatives, and creatives are not typically good at that sort of thing. Or if they're if you love Google Ads and you love sales, it doesn't mean you know how to build a team. Or so everyone
it's
has
good.
the different areas that they're lacking in, I suppose. But mine, I would say, is I'm not necessarily like I said before, I don't claim to be the greatest salesman in the world. Uh, but once I've got them in the door, then I think I can retain them because through the operational stuff inside or delivering a good service and making people get the results and then have a good relationship as well.
For sure. I mean, and it's so funny because I'm laughing inside, because there's these different personalities. I'm so fortunate that I have she's now a partner within our company. When she first started, she was a project manager, and she just began to like just excel. And then as time progressed, she began to help me build systems, because as the owner, like, I'm a creative. Like, I can gather people. I'm a people gatherer. I'm a guy who can rally get the morale of the people in power and vision, and cast out vision and inspiration, these kinds of things like innovation, stuff like that. But when it comes to systems and processes, that's like my Achilles tendon. And I, for such a long time, I was really suffering with this as a business owner. And I'm so fortunate and I'm so blessed that this woman came into my life, a very close friend, and she has that strength, of like, okay, let's take this and let's analyze it. I always like, let's analyze what's going on. Let's seeing what's working. Let's build. She wouldn't even call them systems. She would call them like she called them like guardrails to protect and to help like foster the business, to foster the vision of the business. And so I'm so thankful for the fact that that person came into my life, but not everyone's so fortunate. And so I want to ask for you, when someone doesn't have this person, it better for someone to hire someone like you that can come in and like consult, like a consultant to help? Like, how can a business owner who doesn't have that strength, how can they get a person like that? Or do they have to become a person like that? Like, kind of break that
Mm,
down. Like, this person
mhm,
is either A, just getting started, or maybe they have a bunch of people in their business. What would you recommend? Have a consultant come in and then you help find how to build? Like, bring me through that process because I know a few people are probably asking that question right now. Great. Well, how do I get that? How do I grow in that area?
mhm. I think it depends on your cash flow and sort of where you're at in terms of your revenue journey.
Hmm.
It's not a high priority position or a high priority problem to fill if you're earning under probably $30,000 a month in revenue. It
Hmm.
There's usually other positions that need to be filled in that circumstance. Maybe usually around delivering the service. Probably not sales. Most owners will keep sales to themselves, but you might need another developer, or you might need another designer or something, and that will typically solve all the problems you have in those early days. But as you get a
Hmm.
bit bigger, you get beyond that 20, $30,000 mark. If you're in between probably 30 to 50, it's probably better to get someone external because you don't
Hmm.
need the overhead of having a full timer with that primary skill set. I think they're also probably can be difficult to find as well because it's not a common skill amongst people working in within agencies. There'll be a lot of people that claim to be good at particular softwares, right? Like, for example, ClickUp, Monday, Asana. There's a lot of people out there that are professionals in that, but it's one thing
Hmm.
to be professional in project management, but it's an entirely different thing to understand how to scale a business and use project management to scale a business, not just put project management in place and just I only do this tool and nothing else. So I think it is quite a challenging position to fill. I always sort of lean towards if you know people that you've worked with in the past, if you have
Hmm.
contacts, if you know a lot of other agency owners, asking around, have they had any employees that have that sort of skill set or that attitude towards their work, uh, as opposed to going out and trying to find it externally because it could cost you a lot, and two, it could be difficult to find. So, but I
For sure.
suppose to answer it more directly, yeah, if you're under that sort of uh, probably 50K mark, I don't think it's a full time position. I think it's a consultant can help you get above the plateaus that you're on right now.
And what are some of those things? I don't want to go too long with this line, the subject, but I am curious. What are some of those things that a consultant, someone with those expertise, what would they bring to the table? Like, what is it that an agency owner should be looking for if they go that route? If they go the route of it, what should they be looking for so that it's not just wasted time or wasted money on their part?
I think the main thing, if possible, is looking for someone that has worked either either owns an agency or has worked in an agency that is bigger than where you are today, because
That's
they
good.
understand. Ideally, they understand the problems that you're facing right now, and they've already solved them, and they've
That's
taken
good.
it to that help, or at least been a part of taking it to that next level. If they haven't already solved them, it's more a guessing game to some degree.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, finding someone that can demonstrate the history in that is the most important thing. That's that's how I've been successful. I think with some of the agencies I've worked with is I'm not telling you to put something in place that might work, or yeah, I think this could be a good idea. It's like I have helped implement it. I've run it. I've trained people on it. I've watched it take an agency from this amount to this amount, so I am extremely confident if you follow my advice, you will alleviate this constraint. And
That's
that just makes it easier for me. Um,
Can
but yeah, I think you need someone that's done it before. You can't just grab someone that hasn't been involved in that sort of work.
That's really good, and I think this kind of leans into like kind of the next next line of like of the conversation that we want to talk about is lead generation because is I'm a firm believer that if you don't have a good vision, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to continue when times get hard and you're not going to really believe in your offer. If you don't believe in your offer, no one's going to believe in that offer either. Okay, so you have the vision part. Next, you got to make sure that you have good processes and systems in play, right? So if you don't have the foundation, you don't have the pillars in play, it's just going to be a fancy little vision and you're going to be broke and you probably won't last for very long and you
Hmm.
won't have a team that will be around you for very much longer. So you need to have your systems and processes in place. Now it comes to the third thing, right? Which is growth. Like, how do we grow? Because I know a lot of agency owners are just like, Okay, I have the vision. It's a really good vision. It's a really good offer. Like, I believe it's a good offer. I really believe I have something good. That's why they got into it in the first place. They saw the problem. They want to have the solution. They believe they have the solution. All right, we worked hard with the processes and the systems. We've done all of our SOPs. We've done everything. But where is the leads? Like where's the growth? That's that third thing. And that's really, I believe a lot of people are wanting to know today because there's a lot of kicks and tricks, a lot of people flashing a lot of things like I'll give you 10 leads in 10 days and da 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 da.
Hmm.
With you and your expertise, because this is what you offer. You have this offer of growth. Like we're gonna bring in
Hmm.
this growth. Like, let's talk about that now. Let's kind of uncover that about the growth and lead generation.
Hmm.
So what is it that you offer when it comes to this specific service? W- and I just want to know what you offer, and then I have a few other questions from that. What is it that you guys offer when it comes to growth?
Hmm. It would depend on whether or not it's an agency or, in my case, typically a service-based business that,
Hmm.
um, in a variety of industries. But I can talk a little bit to both. But with agencies, I agree with you 100%. Like if you don't have leads, you don't have a business. And I find
Hmm.
myself saying that to people all the time. Like a lot of people, especially in agencies or digital marketers, they'll focus so much in like, I've got this nice system or I've got this AI chatbot and it's going to solve
Right.
issues for this type of industry. And whenever someone tells me about this, I'm like, have you spoken to that industry to find out whether they give a like, is it a real problem for them? Are
Yep.
they sleeping at night? Are they waking up in the night thinking about it? No, then don't waste your time. Go and
Yeah.
find something that they're really frustrated about. So I think that's the most fundamental thing. Whether or not you're a service-based business or an agency owner, you must find something that people are really, really frustrated about,
Hmm.
and then position it in such a way that makes sense to them. It aligns with what they're already thinking about or something that they already know of, uh, so that they pay attention to you. But I suppose to answer your question about what I'm doing, my agency side, my offer is, I say 120 days. I
Hmm.
guarantee that you'll increase your profit, or I'll give you the money back that you pay me. And there's no ad spend or anything with me, right? So you really don't lose anything other than your time if I can't increase your profit. So
Right.
that's, you could argue whether that's an exceptional offer or not, but that's how I approach things. And in my case, I find that if agency owners will implement what we're talking about and they have the ability to change and to listen and accept the advice, then they will grow. So no, it's fine. It's not a concern for me. And then I suppose for the business side of things, when it comes to more specific lead generation, like I am offering Google ads or Facebook ads or a creation of an offer or a system with Go High Level or whatever it may be, then I would, guarantee same thing, an increase in profitability because a lot of people guarantee leads, but we all know that you could turn on a Facebook lead form and get a nice little video put together and get 50 leads that are terrible, that aren't
Yeah.
qualified and end up wasting your time. And
Yeah.
I mean, in the US, I imagine it's the same, but Australia is so full of cowboys and bad agencies that do exactly that. And you'd probably
Hmm.
tell from looking at my website, that's very much the primary thing I wanted to stand against when I decided to start my own agency. And I wanted
Hmm.
to lead with honesty as being the vision, because
Yeah.
probably 95% of business owners I've ever worked with have had a bad experience with an agency. Whether that's because the agencies have bad intentions or whether they're just naive or they're not skilled enough, is who knows. But I wanted to stand against that. So I try to absorb probably more risk than a lot of people would, but that works for
Hmm.
me because I'm confident I can deliver the results. So
That's really good. And so, because we do have a lot of agency owners that are watching this, and we've talked to a lot of them, and they brought in their questions, and it's interesting because I'm actually here on your website right now, and I was looking at like, how you guide the growth, and I want to, and I'm not just trying to pitch you the whole time here, but it is interesting because this is something that you do every day, right? I don't do this every day, and I have other things that I do in regards to like the types of people that I'm serving, but in this area of like helping people grow and bring in more leads. Um, with agencies, like I was looking at here with like with agencies that you work with, what would be like your advice? What would you? I'm trying to suck out a free what do you call it? I'm not trying to get a free consultant out of you, but it's important, right? I'm sure people are going to be curious about it. Is what would be okay, you said 120 days. So what is it that you do during those 120 days that is going to guarantee growth for these agencies? Like what is it that you do? And how bad does that hurt? Like how do people is it hard for them? Is it hard for them to change in these 120 days that you've seen with? So kind of
Mhm,
walk me through that. Like 120 days, someone works with you. What is it that you do during those 120 days?
mhm. Yeah, it's funny because I find myself, at least the people I work with at the moment, I find myself at the start saying, You might hate me throughout this process." So I'm a pretty direct person, so I'm like, "You can hate me. I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna pull you up on everything. I'm gonna
Come
ask you
on.
why you're focusing on this and deny and sticking your head in the sand on that. I'm gonna poke you and prod you, and it's not gonna be pretty, but if you can take it and you can listen and you can try, then you're going to be fine." So I suppose to answer that, my approach is, I describe it as the constraint cycle method. So I'm a big believer that in any business, but in agencies, everyone has constraints. It just that
Mm,
it might be, but it's going to be in different functions for every person, right? It might be in
yeah.
sales, it could be in your marketing, it could be in your delivery. You might have a really high churn rate. You could have a really poor understanding of your accounting and your financials. All of these
Mm,
things are going to create constraints or bottlenecks in your business. So when I come in, I'm not trying to prescribe a system to say, "Hey, buy this Go High level and follow these ads and watch this course and you're fine."
right.
My approach is very much, I come in and I try to understand the person first. The person,
Uh-huh.
what are your personal goals? What sort of attitudes, beliefs, vision do you have? And get a feel for where you want to go versus where you are now, and in a way
Yeah.
that makes sense for you. Because just because I go a certain way doesn't mean that's going to be right for you. So I try to sort of be very empathetic and flexible in terms of whoever I'm working with to help them get to where they want to go. And then it's about through conversation, and I usually look at it through layers of always the person first, the person and the psychology. Because most agency owners, it's not so much that you've got a problem with your team or you've got a problem with this process. Usually, it's a problem with your time management or the psychology. You're choosing to focus on operations when you know that sales is lacking, and you
That's
just
good.
sort of sticking your head in the sand. I'm good at just poking you to say, "Hey, stop doing that. We're going over here. So and so is capable in your business. They can handle that. This is where we're focusing our energy. And you can blame me if it doesn't work." Just to give people that push in the right direction. So it very
Yeah.
much depends on what sort of problem they have. But it could be things like, recently I've spent a lot of time talking about profit and loss. So
Hmm.
understanding your financials, where you're spending your money on contractors, softwares, what percentages does that make up?
Hmm.
Budgeting and forecasting, understanding, in 2 months I got this massive bill coming in or tax or whatever, so that you can get a feel for where your money is today and how you can use it to work for you in the coming months. It could
Hmm.
be hiring and firing, understanding how to discipline people, how to set clear directions and expectations, processes and procedures. A lot of people lack in project management systems. They don't know how to implement them correctly to complement their business and help their workflow essentially. So
Hmm.
it's very much depends on that particular person's situation.
That's really good. And you for you, I love how you said you kind of have these different layers, and you're able to kind of get into kind of the mindset of these owners, what has been one of your biggest, like you would say, like this is probably one of the biggest problems I've seen in doing this that a lot of agency owners have. Like I can imagine that like they're precious and it's like the most amazing thing that, like you said, it's a like it does really solve a problem. I know that a lot of agency owners could have that problem. But what is like one of the big problems that you've seen that when you're like really helping these people grow that you just keep running into this wall? Or like if only agencies owners could like handle this before before I even get into like working with them, what would be that thing that you see? It'd be like a huge problem, a huge block for a lot of agency owners, a lot of people that are wanting to grow their business.
I think probably the biggest one is this inability to accept that you must separate yourself from the delivery of the service. You have to get
Wow.
out. You've got to. If you can't delegate, you don't have a business. Like you
Yeah.
must be able to delegate. And I don't want to sort of say that or brush past it because it can be quite complicated depending on the person. That's why that psychology piece I think is so important.
Yeah.
It's not that
Mm-hmm.
people are choosing not to delegate. Usually there's some sort of underlying issue. Maybe they have trust issues with their team. Maybe they're so used to it. Maybe they believe that they're the face of the business and therefore they must be involved in everything. So it starts by challenging those beliefs and getting them to understand that maybe there's a different pathway, a different perspective to what they have today that they
Mm-hmm.
can then understand to help them overcome that. But definitely trusting team members, empowering them, understanding that you set guide rails and it's okay if they fail, they make mistakes. If anything, you
Mm-hmm.
want them to fail and make some mistakes because then you create the opportunity to explain to them, hey, this is what we need, and empower them to feel good. Oh, I made a mistake, but here's what I'm going to do differently, or um, just giving people the ability to grow, I suppose, like what you said before, within that
Mm-hmm.
role is so important. I think a lot of people lack in that because they have this fear that if I give it up, the quality is going to drop. Uh, and yeah, that it can be frustrating, definitely, to have those conversations to be like, why are you doing this? I often say to people, you just ask yourself, is this a CEO level job? If your agency is turning over 50K a month, a CEO level job is not getting into a Google Ads account and looking at the search term report. You shouldn't be doing that. That's a
Get
waste of
your hand
time. Yeah,
clicking on.
yeah, exactly. Or doing creatives, whatever. By all means, drip feed ideas into a team, but you shouldn't be the one in there fiddling with the accounts. That's called poor management. Uh,
Yeah, that's
so I think that's the biggest issue I
and
see.
that's what Dan's gonna bring to the he's gonna give it to you. If you're in there clicking, he's gonna know and he's gonna come out and say,
That's it.
"Hey,
That's it.
get
Oh yeah,
over
I'm
this.
always
Come on."
watching.
All right. We know you clicked on it last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, I mean, my question to you, Daniel, is like, how do you help agency owners? How do you help? I keep saying agency owners because a lot of agencies owners watch this that I talk with. Um, like, how do you help them overcome trauma? Because a lot of these people are they're like they're traumatized. They're traumatized. And like for
Mm,
example with us, I mean, I had to really get over this because we had I mean, it was three agencies that just did us wrong. Like three companies that helped us in this lead generation and just never worked. And it's
mhm,
like we were doing everything, man. We were doing everything. And
mhm,
so I wouldn't say I'm traumatized. I'm kind of traumatized, but like every time I just got like a bad taste in my mouth. Anytime someone says like, "Oh, I work with leads," or "I can help you grow with leads," I'm like, really? Like, can you really help me with this? How do you how do you help? I mean, that has to be a very difficult thing to deal with, Daniel. I could imagine when you got these people that are already like like they got their walls up. And you said at the beginning, like you kind of help them understand or get into understand how they do things, but like, how do you go that step beyond where they can like really begin to trust you?
mhm. I think, at least in the agency side, I don't think they're ever going to work with me if they don't trust me somewhat already. So I haven't
Mm,
had this. I haven't had a situation so far where I felt like I'm working with an agency owner and they just don't believe what I'm saying. Because I would be
mhm,
very upfront in the sales process that if you can't, if you have trust issues and you can't listen to what I'm going to say, or everything has to be your idea, I'm the wrong person for you. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
able to help you. You have to have that, uh, and not necessarily that I'm never going to be able to help you, but you must feel an intense pain right now, an intense frustration that there is no option. You have to change. You have to go a different direction. And if you're not at that point yet, you're probably not going to want to work with me, because you're not going to have that. You're not going to want to implement what I'm saying. I
Hmm.
think your question is very relevant to the business side as well, though. Like, a lot of agencies would deal with businesses that have those sort of trust issues, which, uh, if anything, I'd say like I said before, 95% of people I've worked with on the business owner side, who are not agencies, have had a bad experience with an agency like what you just described. It's
Yeah.
just so common. And the reality is, you have to be very sensitive to that. You have to be empathetic. You have to understand that, it'll take a couple of months where they don't trust you or they don't like you, and you have to prove yourself. And it is what it is. That's the
That's
nature of coming into it. Coming into an industry where it is just so full of cowboys and bad results and empty promises, that to some degree it's like, okay, cool, you signed up for it. What do you expect? I don't know. It's like, I imagine, if you, at least in Australia, if you go on to be a real estate agent and people are going to paint you to say that, you got bad intentions, or you think you're God's gift to humanity or something. That's just the nature of it. You're gonna have to get past that.
that's so true. That's so true. Well, man, we're coming up to the end of our conversation, but I really wanted to touch on this last one here. So, you're headed to the United States. So, like, so I don't mean to like open that up for the public, but like, I'm curious about the transition from from the Australian market to the U.S. market. What's on the horizon for you? What is in your what's in your mind? What's in your heart for this new season as you make a transition? Are you wanting to grow and grow the company, like continue operations in Australia, or is it moving just to the United States? Kind of let us know, because I know I know there will be a few agency owners here that would love to connect with you in the United States that I know of right now. So I'll be shooting you, you know, shooting your contact to them.
Hmm. Yeah. So, uh, I mean, my focus and my attention is definitely on the US side for the long term. I'm
Hmm.
fortunate to have some contacts who you already know, uh, in the US, that have helped me out and sort of connected me with some people that I do a fair bit of work for already. So my attention at this point is to deliver as many leads as possible and the best possible service I can for the American side, to continue opening up opportunities over there. So I would welcome and prioritize, is probably the big word, American clients over Australians. That doesn't mean I'll deny it. So I'll
We know
continue.
the people. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got to have to respect my people. I Yeah, well, I'll continue working with my Australian clients, and taking on more for sure, because
Yeah,
the nature of my work is,
yeah,
the time zone doesn't matter that much. It's
yeah,
not a
yeah.
huge
And we're
deal, but
Switzerland. Yeah, there's no distance in that.
I'm excited though for America. I feel like American businesses and culturally how people work is very different to Australia, so I'm excited for
Okay,
that. Uh,
awesome.
and have enjoyed the American business I've worked with so far.
Awesome. If there's any advice that you could give, I always try to leave this off with people that are watching. Is there any advice that you could give for those that are just getting started as entrepreneurs? What would be your advice that you, from all the experience that you've had, what and summed up, summed up in all the experience that you've had, what is some advice that you could give for those that are just getting started in the entrepreneurial life? And it doesn't matter if
Oh.
it's agency or maybe it's for customer, but like just entrepreneurship. Because you're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. So what is it that you could like impart into
Mhm,
their lives?
mhm. I think the willingness to learn,
Hmm.
accompanied by just a really high level of grit and determination. Like, it's not pretty, it's not
Yeah.
easy,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people go into it and sort of flounder. Oh, this didn't work. That didn't work. You've got to be very convicted about what you believe and where you're going, but that also needs to be validated. You must. You must be solving a real problem. I think that would go for any business. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I would say actually is uh, don't build a system, don't build an app, don't spend 40 hours on a logo and a website or something if you don't know that what you deliver solves real problems for people that already exist, and you've at least got some indication that they're going to part with their money for it. I think it sounds simple, but everyone bloody does it. Everyone just like comes up with I don't know. The one that comes to mind is like AI chatbots. So, come on,
Yeah.
guys, who's buying this crap? What
Don't
does it
do it.
actually do? Like,
I'm every I always scroll on YouTube. I always see the chatbot thing. Don't do it. Don't
uh
drink
huh,
from the Kool.
uh huh.
Just don't.
And don't get
But
involved in bloody multi-level marketing. That's the other one that frustrates me. Like, oh, if you were to escape the 9 to 5 and get the digital life and then just sell that life to other people, that's not okay. Don't do
oh
that.
man, yeah, we're just passing you. If we see that, if Daniel and I see any of that junk, we're done. We're gonna do a free consultation and tell you that you shouldn't be doing that. No, all jokes aside, but you're right. You gotta have that grit. Don't waste time. Guys, if you're watching this, it's not worth it. Don't waste time on developing things that just are not don't it doesn't solve anybody's problem. Just be honest with yourself. I don't know how much money I've wasted so much money doing that, and thank God for the woman that woman in my life, the COO of our company, who's like, don't spend one more dime on junk like that. It's like a kid in a candy store. Don't do it. Learn from Daniel, as I said. But I really want to, before we go, I really want to pitch you up. I really, just talking with you. I'm so happy, man, that there's people like you. I love your tagline about honesty, like with marketing. Like this
Hmm.
is the big generation. Like honesty is, unfortunately, this is kind of a lost thing in today's generation. So I really want to say, Daniel, thank you for doing what you're doing, man, and thank you for seeing that as a priority. And with a lot of people that have been burned, and so if you're watching this, guys, check out what Daniel's doing. Check out what he offers. He does a done for you and done with you kind of approach, these two different types of things. So I would really encourage you, if you don't got time, then have him do it for you. Like, just have him
That's it.
have him jump in there and get under the hood. You may not be happy you might get a little frustrated for the first few months, but as Daniel said, it's for your good. And then to do it with you, which I'm actually interested. Do you have like a podcast? Do you have like a course outside of like that ecosystem that maybe people could kind of just get a little taste of what you do?
Not so much on the agency side, no. That's something I'm trying to invest a lot of time and energy into at the moment. Uh, the business side, yes. If people were to look at my TikTok or my website, you would see a fair bit about what I believe in. Certainly, my approach to different platforms and stuff, you would learn quite a lot about that. Um, but yeah, the agency side, I need to do more of.
Yeah, you got to, man. It's a good. There's so many people out there that are just needing help, and I think there's a lot from there. So if you go that route, Daniel, you let us know, man. You let us know. We'll bring you back on the show, and we'll just peel it apart, and you can throw out your offer and everything. We're here. We want to learn. We want to collaborate. We want to be able to help see you grow in what you're doing, and that's what this whole show is all about: collaboration, connectivity, this kind of friendship. We need more friends in the marketplace. We need more got men and women who are out there just hitting the grind, and we got each other's back. So,
Hmm.
Daniel, thank you so much, man. Thank you for giving your time
Thanks for having
and for
me.
being on the show, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any way that like share your website? Can you like how can people get in contact with you or
Hmm.
direct contact with you or in contact with your website?
Yeah, probably the easiest way to get in contact is via the website. So
Mm-hmm.
pagerdigital.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. All
Yeah.
right. Are you on LinkedIn or are you like can people reach out to you via there as well?
Yep. Yeah. LinkedIn, Instagram,
Okay.
TikTok. I'm pretty much everywhere. Either Daniel Page or Pager Digital. You'll find me.
Awesome. Well, guys, go straight to the website. From there, you can, find anything that you may need. You can get in contact with Daniel. And once again, Daniel, thank you so much. All the best to you, man, as you make this these transitions and what you're doing in your life as well as with business, and all the luck to you, man.
Thank you.
And just keep killing it, man.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.